time, so it's a pleasure to meet you. And the first big question of today, did you see lesson 2 and 3 of this module? Have you studied lesson 2 and 3? Could you study the log frame approach? Or is something new for you? We have a yes in chat. That's okay.
I could not.
Aha. And okay, let's say, just to be very practical, we can have a brief summary of lesson 2. I would like to work today on lesson 2, that is mainly about the log frame approach. So we can see together very, very fast what it's log frame approach, and then you can study it on the video and on the slide, be more focused. But we will have a brief summary of the log frame just to be sure that everyone can use this tool. And let's say that it will be a 10 minutes brief summary. Then the idea for today is to have 45 minutes breakout rooms. So we will work together. You are more or less 12, I think. So I'm going to divide you into groups, and you will work in these 45 minutes implementing a log frame on a practical case. And I suggest you to appoint a spokesperson in every group. So it will be the person who will present at the end of the exercise to the other group what you did. And so please appoint a spokesperson later in your group, and appoint a person that will use PowerPoint, because I'm kindly ask you to perform your exercise on a PowerPoint, so you will be able to show and share the PowerPoint to us. Okay. So just to understand how many of you already know log frame approach, how many of you could study or maybe already know the log frame approach? Just raise your hand or write in the chat. Not so much. Okay, so let's have this brief summary. In lesson 1, there is a focus on some tools useful to have a deep idea of your project. Why? Because even if sometimes we have an idea that it seems to us that it's a very good idea, at the end, when we want to present a project, to submit a project, we should ask ourselves if our idea is really something that can impact positively on our stakeholders. So how can we do that? First of all, through stakeholder analysis. So we should ask ourselves which will be the communities and in general the stakeholders that will be affected by our ideas, and we should ask them, we should ask to the stakeholders which is their ideas, which outcomes they would like to reach with our project. Okay, so this is one of the tools in lesson 1. Another tool is the problem tree tool, that it means when you write down a project, the final aim of the project is to solve a problem that you have. But at the end, a problem is just an effect that has some causes, some root causes. So the problem tree is a tool that tries to help you to identify the root causes of your problem. And there are other tools, but these are the preliminary tools to understand how good is a project. How good means if it can affect positively the community where you live. Then in lesson 2, you will find a tool that is called log frame approach. Log frame approach is a tool that helps you to to define a structure of the problem. It's a tool that helps you to be logical in your project. What does it mean? I'm going to show you some slides. What is a log frame? When you have a project, the first question that you must answer is, where do we want to be? That is, it means which is our purpose, our goal. And the second question is how we will get there. Let's say these are the results. These are the way through which we will achieve those results. Where we want to go, how we want to go there. The final aim of your project, the activities that you will perform during your project. And then these are the activities, but how we will know that we correctly perform those activities. So we need indicators. Sometimes you can call it also KPI. That means key performance indicator. So these are a list of indicators that tells you if you already reach correctly your activity. So for example, let's say that I want to have some events, and I say that an indicator of good results is that I have 500 participants in my event. 500 participants is an indicator. Okay, so I have to define which kind of measures, so participants, and which is the target. So indicators and targets. Indicators will be participants, targets, 500 participants. And then I have evidence. Evidence means how can I calculate this number? So for example, if activities is an event, indicators is 500 participants, how can I count the number of participants? So how can I have the evidence of the indicators? You can say you can just have to count them, or for example, the number of tickets sold. So I will calculate these indicators through tickets sold. Okay, and at the end, in the log frame, you have to consider assumption. What assumption means? It would be very easy if we could see that I have a purpose, I do these activities, and through these activities, I reach the purpose. It's too easy. Why? Because these activities, you need to do these activities, but a lot of times you can reach the purpose if other things happen, things that are not related to your activity. For example, I can say, if I organize something, I can realize the events. But what happens if in that day it rains? Maybe if it's raining too much, even if you have organized everything, you cannot reach your purpose. So assumption means what else has to happen together with my activities in order to reach my purpose. So how does the log frame works? It's just a table, okay? In this table, you have these columns. Summaries. Summary means a description of what of these things. So a summary is you have to write down which is the goal of your project, which is the purpose of your project, which will be the outputs of your project and the activity. So if I do these activities and the assumption will be there, I will reach the output. If I reach the output, I will reach the purpose. If I reach the purpose, I will reach the goal. So description, goals, purpose, outputs, and activities, and description of the indicators, of evidence, and of assumption. Let's make an example. No? Okay. So, summary. Goal is the project contribution to policy or program objectives. What does it mean? We are talking about projects that we hope will be financed by European or national goals. So the first thing that I have to do is to read the call and try to understand which is the goal of the call. So why European Union or your national country, why are they giving you money? They are giving you money because they hope that through that money you can realize a project, and through that project you could gain their goals. So goals, how your project can contribute to the policy or program. Purpose, which are the direct benefits to the target groups. So this is the main goal. Purpose is the benefits to your stakeholder. Outputs, the outputs that you will produce through your products, the project, the activities that you will perform. So we can see that vice versa. And so if I do these activities, this task, I will give these outputs to my stakeholders. If I give these outputs, they will have some benefits, and these benefits will realize the overall goal. Okay? What I propose you for today is not to realize a huge, a comprehensive log frame, because it's the first time that you are looking at these tools. I suggest just to realize summary and indicator. So just maybe you can do a screenshot of this slide, okay? I invite you to do a screenshot of this slide, and in the group, think about a project, simple project, and try to write down the log frame just for these two columns, summary and indicator. Any question? I suggest you to download these slides on the portal. So if you have any doubt, you can see the slide. If you have any question, please do it now. Cesare, you have the camera on. Susanna, on. Any doubt?
We have to work on the mini case study.
If you want, you can work on the mini case study. So you can download the mini case. There is a link to a specific project that already exists. If you want, you can do that. The only thing is that if you go and to the website and read all the things that are written in the website, you will spend a lot of time. So maybe if you read the website, then you have not so much time to realize the log frame. Otherwise, in any group, you can just think of a very simple project. So you have just to share and to agree on a project and just try to do the log frame on that project. What is important is not the contents, the final contents of your log frame. Why is not important? Generally speaking, is important, but today is not important because you don't have enough time. You will have 45 minutes. So in 45 minutes, you cannot do a comprehensive log frame. What I'm really interested in is that you can understand the methodology behind the log frame. So your objective today is try to do the log frame, try to understand it. If there is any problem, just you can ask me, or you can just try to solve in your group. What I will do, I will create these two separate rooms, two separate groups, and I will jump from a group to another during the exercise. So if you have any question, I will be there every 5 minutes, and you can ask me. Okay, but if you have any question now, please. Susanna, if you have any question, do you have any question? It's okay. Domenico?
No, just a clarification. I have done the exercise of mini case study yet. Maybe it's possible to see it in a group to discuss it if it's good or not, or
Yes,
it's
of course. In your group, you're free to do everything you want. So if you already did the mini case study, of course, you can share it in your group. And
okay.
your target will be to improve that log
Yeah.
frame. So in that case, you will start from something that has already done by you. Just try to improve and to discuss, because
Yeah.
happen that in the group someone can tell you, okay, why did you assume that this activity is good? So you can also
Yeah.
change it. Don't worry, you can do whatever you want.
Fabio, can
Yep.
you put us, me and Domenico, into different groups, because I've done the mini case also, so you
So
can.
in two, okay. Okay. It will be a random groups, but
Okay.
Domenico will be in separate groups, so every group can benefit from your work. Okay, no problem.
Sorry, Domenico.
Huh?
Don't worry.
Okay, just give me a second to prepare the breakout rooms. Okay. Good. You should have received the notification.
Okay.
So you can move in every group, and I will join you. Jordi, Zrinka, did you receive the notification? Good. I'm moving in the breakout rooms.
I wrote that reduce racism through the sport in stadiums on the game fields. So how can we generally reduce racism through sport? Okay. Are you agree, or do you think that the process is not right?
Well, no, for now it's good. Absolutely.
Okay. Then okay, I thought then at the output level, I put improve the MABI in English present in football team, which are I don't remember, but like not European, not so Asians, African, if I remember. So just a second, I go. Let's see. No. No, okay. I don't know what is MABI, but I swear that. Let's see if I. No.
Can I make a question in the meantime?
Yeah.
Just because it's the first time that I see the chart. When you in activities and make the summary, when you say promote sport initiatives that involve young adults, people, and gender, culture, and skin colors, do you have to be like specific?
No. No, the lesson the lesson say that you don't have to be as much as specific. Yeah, no, you don't have to be specific, just because I think this is a matrix, so you don't have to put all the project inside just a little squares. So probably I think that yeah, from what I can remember, yeah, we don't have to be specific. So
Okay.
let's see.
If you have any question, I just joined you. Any particular question? Otherwise, I will be mute.
No, I was asking if when explaining the part of activities in the summary, you have to be specific, just because maybe in this case, Cesare is talking about
Indicators. Okay. So, guys, what do you want to add to what I said? If you want to add something.
Number one, output number one. So that output is related to that activity. In this way, you can link for the log frame. Okay. So I will stay here 5 minutes. I mute. Every time you have a question for me, just call me and I activate the mic.
Okay. So I was reading the summary that I tried to do, and Alessandra and Susanna, I think that they agree with me. So I don't know. Then I tried to write the indicators that for the activities it's maybe easier because it's our association that has I wrote the register, maybe some, I don't know. Yeah, so we can we are doing the initiatives, so we can we know the number and the people who attend our initiative. So I don't know if this can be an indicator, but probably yes, because if my association do 2 events, we have the number of the events.
Of course, that is an indicator, is a very good indicator. What you can do, especially later on when you will have a detail of activities. This is the indicator, and so the way through which you measure your activities, try to identify also a target of indicator. So, for example, now you see number of initiatives. Okay, so number of initiatives is how you calculate, but then the target is how many initiatives. So you can say number of initiatives. That is, my target is 5. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Target.
Okay.
Well, you know why? Why is necessary an indicator, a target? Because if you do not write down a target, you will never know if you have accomplished your activity. If you say, I want to make some initiatives, how many? Just think about your evaluators, the evaluators of your project. Okay, so I'm going to evaluate the effectiveness of your project. If you write initiatives, I will say to you, how many? How can I know if you did all your initiatives? So indicators and targets. Okay.
I'm going to write here. Okay. Then at the outputs, this lead on the output, and also I wrote MABE, which are Black, Asian, and minority ethnic. So this is MABE. People who play in a football team, and this can be measured thanks to local reports or the association at local level, I think, but maybe also at regional and so and so. And this is also require a target, maybe. So let's make 100 people, okay, plus I don't know. So then we have the purpose that so I wrote reduce racism through the sport. So racism, we have to measure the racist incidents reported inside the football world. Okay, so the supporters or on the field, I don't know. We can, of course,
it's very interesting. I like the indicators that you put here. We have. I want to have just a 3 minutes discussion with you, with your groups, about evidence, the third column. Why? Because the indicator is perfect. So this is incidence. Where is the problem? The problem is in the evidence. Evidence column means in which way you are going to calculate the indicator. So in this case, the indicator is very good, but evidence will be hard to achieve. Why? Because my question is, how are you going to calculate how many incidents there are in the football world? And you can answer through news in the newspaper or in the websites or in the referee reports. It's all good, but you have to understand how hard and how will be costly to calculate the indicator. Okay.
I had some doubts about my evidences. So because also incidents can happen, but they cannot. Not always they are. They
are not registered. So a lot of time you have incidents, but nobody tells you that there was an incident. Nobody sees it. So in that case, where is the risk? The risk will be that if you're going to calculate through the news in the website, you can say, okay, in this month, no incidents, so everything is good. But in reality, it's not good. It's that you didn't know that there were incidents. So the column evidence is about that. So how can I going to correctly calculate the indicator?
Maybe
if you realize that the evidence is very hard to obtain, that means that we have to change the indicator with something that is easier to calculate.
Okay. Maybe surveys, well, I don't know, interviews.
Okay, as I said before, it's not so important for me now what I have to write down inside. For me, it's important that you have in mind that there could be this kind of problem with evidence. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's very good, this indicator.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to move to the other group. I will be back in 10 minutes.
Okay. And so this is it. And last, I put the assumption, which is the second step, because the lessons say that first of all you have to do the summary and then the assumption, and at the end the indicators and evidence. So I wasn't sure that my assumption, that I really understand what assumption mean in this case, but I try to put this so at activity level, maybe because you try to promote at local level, so thanks to grassroots and association, maybe there can be the families of the youth. Hi, Domenico.
Hi guys, I came here because the other part they are not working at all. Sorry, Jason.
Okay. Also, last lesson was the same. Someone appeared.
They hate me, maybe.
Oh, no. So I am at the assumption column.
Yeah.
And I was saying that at local level, it can be the families of the youth, or or also the prejudice among the adults that try to stop our initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then at output level, where I put that our goal is improve the Mabe presence in football team. It's behaviors, bad behaviors, of course, within the team. So if I am a Mabe person, maybe, and my teammate hate me just because I am from Asia or something, we cannot go to the next step. So to our purpose, to reduce racism through the football.
Yeah.
And so if we reach this output, so if we go to the next step and our teammates are good, then we have the other problem at another level, that are the people that are external to our team, so supporters and clubs figure like the president or the coach, that have an important role at the end of on a global scale. I wrote maybe I was finishing maybe, and I wrote just ignorance and no sensibility through.
Yeah, maybe Cesare, I will head to your last two assumptions connected with the goal. Maybe the ignorance and no sensibility. Maybe I can also think about the lack of financial support about the government. Maybe because this is not a priority. Maybe we can say something.
Your solution is more practical than my. I wrote something very.
We can add if you want.
Okay.
Sorry, a question for you. Let's talk about the assumption related to purpose. So bad behaviors among the supporter. Okay. So I think it's the opposite. What does it mean? The assumption represents what should happen outside our project in order to reach the goals. So through my activities or my purpose, plus the assumptions, I can reach the goal. So I think it's the opposite. It's not bad behaviors, it's good behaviors.
So all the column is the opposite. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So
it represents something that can happen, that should happen in addition to your project in order to reach the goal.
So in the assumption column, talking about goals, maybe some understanding about the governments, about the priority of the fight against racism. So this can be the assumption connected with the goal, maybe.
Yeah, I think.
And maybe on the purpose part, bad behaviors about good behaviors among the supporters and clubs, important figures, maybe also some common practical best practice among clubs that can reduce racism in the sports. But talking from example, practical example, that maybe, I don't know, maybe I was thinking about some clubs that were made by only refugees, maybe something connected with this.
Yeah, okay. I understood the
The
contrary.
assumptions are good. You just understood that in the opposite way, but it's
okay.
because you are just to write the opposite of your previous assumption.
Okay.
And Alessandra, do you agree with this assumption, with this logic?
Yes, and of course they seems also to be crucial when you are promoting an activity like the one that Cesare decided to think about. Of course, they have just to change from bad to good behaviors.
Okay.
I think that is very good. You can try to be now more detailed. In which way? First of all, try to complete the indicators and target column. Try to put down some numbers, okay, of the targets. And then after that, you can try to go deeper and deeper in the activity. So you will see that again in the project management module. But when you have a project, here you have a group of activities. But in a project management, you will have to write down, it's called the WBS. It means work breakdown structure. That means the list of the detailed activities that you are going to do. So now we have this group of activities, it's right. After that, you write down the indicators, targets, go back to the activities and try to list detailed activities. Let's assign a code to every activities number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can go down, you can drill down the outputs as well. So I have output number 1 related to activity number 1, output number 2. And in this way, later on, you can split the indicators. So an indicator, okay, this is the way. Step by step.
So can I close my screen share or wait? Do we have to work on the activity now or?
No. It was just,
okay.
just go as you like. Okay.
Okay. This is. Do we want to discuss the Domenico log print?
If you want, Cesare, I can put you some. Okay. This is what I wrote talking about. Wait, I have to share the screen. Okay, wait. PowerPoint, yeah. Okay, this was the first part. I don't know, Cesare, if you took the show the red. You took show the red card, racism, the red card, the first mini case. Okay, we are aligned on this. Perfect. Yeah. So I was thinking about the activities, basically. And as you see, I put 3 different types of activities that, of course, I found also in the website because I was searching at that time during the mini case. And I was creating awareness campaigns to develop the topic, developing an educational program to children among 7 up to 15, addressing racism and other forms of discrimination. Of course, a creation of anti-discrimination policies in grassroots clubs, as I was saying before, the part of refugees, etc. And the last one, launching new competitions and online courses. These activities for what? For reaching the output of creating a safe and a non-judgmental environment to support any discussion related to racism and religion discrimination. This is what was the part connected with the output, how to measure the output, the number of civic education hours conducted in the schools, the time devoted by the teachers and the students for additional activities to integrate the diverse communities, and of course the number of questionnaires, because it was present on the site, a real document in which they said that they were sending to the students and to the people the questionnaires that they were made to fill out at the moment of this thing. And if we create a safe and non-judgmental environment to support any kind of discussion related to racism and religion discrimination, then we can reach to the purpose that was the empowering role models with communities. So the same, I think you put, if I don't remember bad, Cesare, you put more or less the same in your log frame, maybe, if I...
Yeah, I wrote just through the sport. I wrote also the same purpose, and yeah, through the sport.
And talking about the indicators to see this purpose, to measure this purpose, of course, the numbers of events with sportsmen, high profile publicity events, award ceremonies, managers, number of participants, but all these things I check it in internet. So I found it by the site of Show the Red Cross Show Racism the Red Card. So this is why now it's much more detailed maybe than the other, because I have also done this research, and then starting from this, reaching the global goal that dismantle racism in society. How to see this particular goal, comparing the effectiveness of reducing the prejudice of racism in comparison to the other forms of prejudice, and how seeing this, maybe statistics on the number of cases, but also reports connected with that. This is what I wrote for this mini case study. So we can maybe put some things in yours, Cesare, some things that we can put to make it much more detailed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, mine log was more basic, but I'm agree with you, especially, of course, your activities are just more developed than mine. So of course,
yeah,
better, and pretty good activities. Then okay, I didn't think about the civic education in schools, which brings the problem at another level.
See,
not only the sport field, but also at school. Then you can work on families, etc. And then I think that indicators. Did you say that you took the indicators from the showing races?
The site.
Yeah. Okay. I went to the site, but I didn't see all the activities. So this is also good.
Sorry, I just want to stop you just 1 minute to have an insight together. Just think about write down this log frame together with all the partners of your project. Now you have an example in this small group on how much is important to build up a log frame together with your partners. Why? Because when you try to write down the log frame by your own, you have your thoughts, your way of thinking. Every time you share it and you work together with others, you can see that every time something changes. Sometimes you don't agree completely on the change, but a lot of times from your partners, because they have different experiences, different backgrounds, different way of thinking, at the end, they add something that is new to you. And when you work for a couple of hours with your partners on the log frame, you can see that the final log frame is totally different from your first one, but it's much more better.
Yes.
Okay? Because it's the sum of the opinion of everyone. So sorry for the pause, but it was important for me to share this with you. Please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, Alessandra, Susanna, want to say something?
There is not. Sorry.
No, you continue.
No, I was saying that there is not much to add at this point because Domenico wrote everything down. So.
Okay.
I
Susanna,
agree.
what's your opinion on that?
I agree. I agree. There's not much to add. Yeah.
So, for example, a lot of time is you can add something because of you live in a different background. So, for example, racism. Unfortunately, racism is something that is widespread all over, not only Europe, but all over the world. But even in Europe, there are some countries that is much more a problem than other countries. So, for example, if I live in a country where there is not so much racism, when I'm going to write down the log frame, I'm sure I will miss something. Instead, if I live in a country where every week there are incidents on that, I have pressure on this topic, so I can add something. And another thing that is very useful is that the solution that we can propose. So what are activities? Activities is something that I think that if I do these activities, I will have a solution to a problem. Sometimes there are some countries where we already found some solution, and other countries where we didn't improve that solution as well. So why I'm going to make pressure on you on participating together to this? Because you have to share not common background, because a common background doesn't help you to add something new. You have to share your different backgrounds. So, Susanna, some ideas on that.
Yeah, I would like to say that, for example, in Croatia, our society is not that diverse in the matter of different races. We are not a very popular country to move in. So we don't have much refugees or immigrants in that way. We do now in terms of people coming here to work, but we don't have that much diversity among children. However, we have in a region where I live, in Istria, we have a lot of groups of gypsy children, and even though society takes care of them in a way of providing education, providing extra kind of financial aid, I don't see them much in sports. And I don't see them in some higher levels of sports or in sports in general. Maybe some of them, young boys, they do play football, but I don't see young girls, or I don't see them in any other sports. So and sometimes it seems that the problem is on the other side, we would say, because so in a way society is opened, but due to their kind of education, traditions, etc., they do not participate in sports. And the idea would be how to engage communities, parents, to let their children play sports. So it's not that matter of racism, it's just the matter of participating in activities that could bond people together. And there is no better activity than sports. So
thank you for this, because as an evaluator, I am an evaluator of Erasmus Plus project, and last year a lot of projects submitted were exactly about what you just said. So how to improve participation, for example, of Gypsy, okay? And my evaluation of the projects submitted were not very high. Why? Because what was missing in the project? It was missing a research on the causes. So every project said, we have this problem, but none of the project that I evaluated, they didn't go deeper on the causes. So why? You should always ask yourself why. When you identify a problem, that is a problem that you want to solve with your project, you have to ask why there is this problem. And you will give yourself an answer. You should not stop there. When you give yourself the answer, like a baby, like a 3 years child.
Yeah, like asking all the time, yeah.
Yeah, why that? You answer yourself, and then why that? My suggestion, at least 5 times. Just ask yourself at least 5 times why. Because if you do that in your project, when you write down your project, and in your project you write this sequence of why, not in this way, of course, but when you explain that, who is going to evaluate your project? Me, as an evaluator, I think, okay, these guys really have gone deeper on this project. It's not just an idea. They have analyzed everything down. Okay. Otherwise, if you're not going to do that, even if your project will be successful, but I can assure you that you will not reach any goal through your activity. Okay, so I completely agree with your what you were saying before. So please go on.
I mean, well, that would be the goal, but like you said, when asking why this and why that and why that, it raises much more questions than answers, really. So it then comes back to us, and then we have to admit, okay, each and every one of us has some kind of not maybe racist view, but maybe like egocentric, European-centric point of view. You know, I think I am better than them, and I value my ways of living and playing sports and seeing world in general. I see them better than they do. So the idea would be to include also people from Gypsy communities who work also on the projects, on different kind of projects. So to work closely with them to get a better insights on how to approach, on how to communicate, and maybe how to think a bit differently, because we like to do things, gradually, write them down, put them in some schedules, organize them. We will do that on our part. That's the proper way to do for us, and the proper way to do a project, so everybody could understand. But in reality, when it comes to realization of the project, maybe the approach will have some kind of, let's say, impromptus, if you know what I mean. We will have to a bit improvise, in the moment.
Okay.
But it is also very important to write everything down, to maybe film, to maybe doing a short kind of short video interview, to have maybe any kind of data later.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, with this topic that Susanna shared with us, you can see how your log frame can change with the new activities. And I would like to add something else, and I think you will do that in the project management module. And what is very important is to perform some risk management. What does risk management mean? It's not foreseeing this log frame approach, but the topic is every time you decide to do an activity, this activity could generate some risk. Let's make an example. Let's talk about Jitsi, okay? And let's talk about integration of Jitsi in society. For example, one of the way to which we want to integrate Jitsi is through schools. So, for example, in the school, you can have some schools where 20 guys, 15 of them are of your country, 5 are Jitsi. So this is an activity that you're going to do in order to solve the problem. It's okay. You should add something else in your project. You should say, I want to do these activities. I am aware that these activities could, you cannot know if it will happen or not, but it could generate some risk. For example, in schools, which is what is one of these risks? A lot of families think that if in the classroom of their children there are too many Jitsi, the education will not be good. So what are they going to do? They move their children to another class. And what happens if you move all the guys of that country in another class? There will be no more integration. So you will have just Jitsi in a classroom. So you perform an activity, but there is a risk. And if the risk happens, so it's like the assumption, okay? So in the log frame is integration, having Jitsi in my classroom. Assumption, parents do not move their children. The sum of this, it's integration, okay? What I'm saying to you is in your project, always declare the risk and declare in which way you want to mitigate this risk, okay? This will be a perfect project, okay? So thank you a lot, Susanna, for your speech. Please.
Can I add just one thing, which seems a bit funny to me, but it's really true. I had some experience working with Gypsy communities, and I also have friends who worked like a bigger research in sociology. And the basic problem was they had no footballs, like balls to play with at the beginning. So it was this simple, you know. If you give them toys, if you give them balls, if you give them equipment to play some sports, they will do it, and they will probably succeed in it. But the problem also, you know, comes back to financial problem. So it was this simple, you know. Let's donate them some, like a net of footballs, and they will have 10, 15 footballs to play with, and they will play, and eventually they will want to organize themselves to play some games, to compete, and there is no more grassroots than that, you know. Like a simple version. Yeah.
Sometimes we do some mistakes in our project. We ask too much to our project, especially if we are talking about Erasmus Plus project, sport project. Your aim is never like peace in the world.
Yeah.
No racism at all. It's too much.
It's unobtainable. Yeah.
Yeah, unattainable. And the problem is that if your target is so high, your activities will be huge, but a lot of time, simple activities, simple solutions leads to a huge solution. So as Susanna said, just give them a ball. Or for example, when in project where you want to improve education, a lot of time the problem is that children do not have any desk where they can study. A place like 1 square meters where they can sit down and study. So sometimes the solution is huge universities, just give them a desk, just give them a ball. So small project doesn't mean small goals. Okay.
Yeah.
Cesare, please, you were talking about
not particularly. I'm agree with the fact that everything has to start from a local level and a small level, especially for grassroots association. If we want to talk about our project. Then now we are analyzing the showing Racing Red Card, which is I think a big association, and then financed by football players and so and so. But just taking the Susanna example, maybe just create a football field, which is I don't know if it is so expensive. So not of course San Siro, but just a little field with two door. Maybe it will be enough to raise some children that, thanks to sport, maybe can be more integrated, or just open a little building where they can do every kind of sport. I think that this kind of initiatives are the most efficient. So
I want to ask you a question that I think is very important in order to understand which is even the sustainability in the future of the project that you as a grassroots organization can submit. And my question is, in your normal life, okay, you go in the street, you walk in the street, you talk to people. Do you think that you can recognize people who did sport when they're young compared to people that didn't do any sport? So do you think there is a difference in the way of thinking, in the way behave people that love and perform sport, especially team sports?
If I can
Yes.
answer, being a basketball coach in this side maybe can help. No, basically, I think that on my perspective, people who are doing sports are people who are efficiently organized. I mean, every single thing in their life is organized. Since we were younger, we used to study or to work, in certain hours, and then from that hour to another, there is the space for a sports activity. What I mean is the fact that sports people are usually try to be much more organized, maybe, than people who maybe tend not to have sports, or also to maybe they think much more logically. When I was doing, for example, this log frame, I used to think it was kind of similar to a coach situation. I mean, why this, how you can do this goal, how you are going to do that, why. So for me, the main difference is in the mentality, of course, in the way of organizing, and maybe also physically, because many people that are not doing sports, of course, you can see physically how they appear. I mean, they are maybe much more fat, maybe they are much more lazy also in doing activities. I think sports is not only a way of doing an activity, but also a way of thinking, a way of proceeding during the life. The sports give us also many suggestions, like the defeat that might be the beginning of a new victory. So this is what for me is the difference. So mentally, but also in a physically way. For this is my perspective on the topic.
Alessandra, Susanna, what do you think? Do you think that you can recognize people who did sports? Do you think that they behave, or they have a different way of thinking? They have a different way of socializing with other people?
To me, they are capable to understand what does it mean to work in team. Organized, okay, but it's not always like this, because many people who did sport maybe perform well when do tasks alone. So it really depends from, the single experiences that they had. Usually they have a better understanding of what it means to cooperate, to reflect, but they are not always, it's not like I did volleyball for 10, 15 years, so I am an organized person. It really depends.
Of course. Thank you. Susanna?
Well, I agree with Alessandra. I think it's true. And I think also there's a difference between people who played group sports and people who played single sports. But I think the common trait is that sports teaches you how to push yourself psychologically, how to always push that boundary, because your body has a limit. If you start sports with 10 years old, you're still a child, basically. And if you continue till your 20s, in some sports, you're a veteran in your 20s. Your body wears down. So it's not always a physical boundary that you're pushing. It's psychological, it's mental boundary that you have to keep going. And I think it's a positive trait. It's a positive characteristic in anybody. And so it happens when I meet those people, they in one way or another, they mentioned that they were in sports. So I cannot say that I can recognize them, you know, at the first sight, but after talking with some people, after seeing them working and addressing some problems, approaching different people or situations, you can really tell that somebody knows how to think in progressive way. You know, I also think it's a bit logical and mathematically, like a mathematical mindset. You always doing this +1. You're always adding something. It's like in sports. I used to be in volleyball. You are learning one skill and then you're adding another one slowly. You cannot do everything at the same time. So and you are really you really have to know how many times you have to repeat something. I remember our coach telling us that you have to, you know, repeat how to smack the ball more than 10,000 times to perfect it, or how to jump to block the ball. So you have to prepare yourself to be able to repeat something so many times. So that's I think that's a great trait of sports that lasts a long time, even though you know gain some weight. I did. So it's a benefit of sports. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Hi, Jesse. I don't know. Correct pronounce. Raise your hands. Do you want to add something? No, was your hands raised on? Okay. So I agree with all of you. Why my question? The question, what's the meaning?
Hello? Yes.
Hi, please.
Oh.
Tell us.
Yes, the mic was not working for some reason, but from my side, like in Finland, for example, what comes to people, like how easy it's to like recognize the difference in between people who have done sports compared to people who have been like just done nothing. It's basically, or well, in our like, let's say society country, our people are pretty like introverted as they are in Finland. Like they like to be alone, but every single one who plays sports are really extroverted. Like you can just you can like see when you go into like, let's say, public places and people who talk there to each other, and you can just like, well, basically almost 90% of the people who come forward to you are like extroverted, and they are most likely either in sports or some kind of like group work. Like for example, let's say youth work, some like to play musics and so on. That is like easily connected. So, and like Susanna said, then there is the difference in between like the ones who play alone, single person sports and group sports that I have learned myself. Like the biggest difference usually is that if there comes a work-life situation for the person who has played in group-like sports, they tend to rely way more on others and expect way more from them. And when the persons who have played like single sports, for example, if you're a runner, you're always like really keen into doing things on your own and tend to take like leadership like role in workplaces. And I think most people who have not done like sports in like youths, they, well, how do you say it like nicely? I think almost everyone in Finland who are like mentally ill, they have always been like alone, like never done sports or anything. But when you do sports any kind in your youth, it tends to like progress in your life in positive manners. Like I think they tend to be way more healthy, like psychologically and as well as like physically. It's always both connected to each other. But it's hard to say in like public if someone is basically stable or unstable. Well, if you don't look into America, there is like, well, it's easy to say who goes around and is maybe not that bright anymore, but that is not for me to discuss. It's their thing. But basically, I think the biggest difference is always like the extroverting and introverting, like in between sports players and people who has not done sports, and that comes into their like cognitive and communicative skills, like how they express themselves, how they tend to like take feedback, how easy they are to like come like to work with. It doesn't matter if it's like sports, work, any kind of projects. I think that is like the biggest difference. And when it comes into school, I can say from my own like perspective is that our group, what we used to do in school, was always the same. And I think that was the part because there 3 of us played football and 2 of us played floorball. Like we were always together doing every project, and it showed that we had like the most like in between like the boys at the age, we were like way more developed in our like communicative skills than the other boys were that didn't do sports at our like local areas. When you can always compare like girls go forward like 2-3 years in advance, even 5 years forward some, and well, it's always personal thing, but in between boys it was like clear to see who actually did sports in their youth, because it progressed so much in their like what is called like their how they grow up in different areas of their life. And I think most of the guys at my age now, they are all working. We are either in leadership positions in our work, or we are like owning a company already. So it's pretty nice to see. And most of the people who we knew from the youth that didn't do sports, they tend to, well, most of them have no job at all, or they are losing like their basic skills of life. Like Susanna said earlier, like it makes people like, and Domenico said as well, that when their like life structure is way more like hold up, they know how to manage things, how to manage themselves, and how to like fix life problems.
Yes. So thank a lot to all of you, because in your answer there was the big answer to the question. And the fact is that, especially if you perform group sports, it teaches you to live in a community, to be part of a community. And why this is so important? Because in project, in European course or national course, they're going to give you money for this project, of course, for maybe some sport events, but the final aim is never the event. The final aim is to make clear for guys participate in the event that they are part of a community, because when they will grow up, they will remember this thing, and they will understand that they are part of much bigger community. And if you are part of a community, there's no room for racism or diversity or whatever. So in your project, sport is never the final aim. Sport is something through which you can reach some bigger goals. Okay, and at the end, the goal is the community, because remember that Europe as European Union, okay, there is European Union, but there are still a lot of differences between countries. So we have not reached yet the idea of Europe as a unique community. But the final aim is that we are all European. Of course, there are differences, but we are one community where there is no room for racism or whatever. Okay, so this is the final aim of the project, grassroots sport project, at least. Okay, so let's go back in the main room, and so we go back and say hello to everyone. So okay, now a notification for you. Okay. I'm very happy to share these things with you, because every time we can share this point of view from different perspectives I think is very, very useful, and every one of us at the end is richer than before, than 2 hours ago. So I would like to say thank you to all of you for this discussion. I really appreciate the way you worked on the log frame, especially because it was something new for everyone. So I invite you to focus on that. So study it, see the video, and in a very short time submit your project, and please something that can create a unique community for all of us. Okay, so goodbye everyone, good work.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Thank you.